Before we begin, I want to ask you a very simple question. Curious, when was the last time you checked how well blood is actually flowing to your feet and legs? Most people don't think about circulation until something starts going wrong. Cold feet that never warm up, leg pain when you walk, numbness that slowly creeps in. These are signs many people ignore for years, until the damage becomes serious. Today I'm going to share something incredibly simple that may help support healthy circulation naturally. It's something many people already have sitting in their kitchen, yet almost nobody realizes how powerful it could be when used the right way. But first, I want you to listen carefully to this story, because what happened to Margaret happens to thousands of people every single day. Pause. Then continue with your original line. I'm about to reveal something that might save your life. I'm about to reveal something that might save your life. Something so simple it sounds almost ridiculous. Something you could do right now this morning with something you probably already have in your kitchen cabinet. But there's a very high chance this one thing could improve your circulation more than any medication you're currently taking. Could warm up those cold feet that have been freezing for years, could let you walk further without pain than you've been able to walk in months. And you have absolutely no idea because nobody ever told you about it. What I'm about to share will shock you, not because it's complicated, because it's so simple. Your doctor has probably never mentioned it. The vascular specialists don't talk about it, but the research is there. Published, clear. This simple thing done correctly every single morning can improve blood flow measurably, can reduce the inflammation that's destroying your arteries, can help your blood vessels work the way they're supposed to work, and it costs less than a cup of coffee per week. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what this is, how to use it correctly, and why it works when medications sometimes don't. Because I'm not just going to tell you what to do, I'm going to show you what's actually happening inside your arteries right now. And once you understand that, you'll never think about circulation the same way again. Stay with me because what you learn in this video could be the difference between losing your ability to walk and keeping it. Between cold, painful feet and warm, comfortable ones. Between watching your circulation get worse and watching it get better. Let me tell you about Margaret. And I need you to listen very carefully to this story because I promise you, you're going to see yourself in it. Margaret was 68 years old, a retired nurse. She'd spent 40 years taking care of other people. Now she needed help herself and she didn't know where to turn. 2 years ago, Margaret's feet started getting cold, not just chilly, ice cold all the time. Even in summer, even wearing thick socks. Her feet felt like blocks of ice. At first, she thought it was just age, getting older. Poor circulation, nothing serious, but it kept getting worse. Her feet weren't just cold, they were numb. She couldn't feel them properly. Walking felt strange, like she was walking on wooden blocks instead of her own feet. Then the pain started. When Margaret walked more than a few blocks, her calves would cramp, a deep aching pain that forced her to stop. She'd stand there on the sidewalk waiting for the cramping to ease. After a minute or two, it would get better, and she could walk again. But it kept coming back. Over months, the distance she could walk before the pain started got shorter and shorter. A mile became half a mile. Half a mile became a 4 mile. Eventually, Margaret could barely walk to the corner store without having to stop and rest. Margaret went to her doctor. Her doctor examined her feet, checked the pulses, looked concerned. "I think you have peripheral artery disease," he said. "The arteries in your legs are probably blocked. We need to do some tests." The tests confirmed it. Margaret's arteries were narrowed, blocked by buildup, plaque. The blood couldn't flow properly to her legs. That's why her feet were cold. That's why they were numb. That's why she couldn't walk without pain. Her doctor started her on medications, pills to improve blood flow, aspirin to prevent clots. These should help, he said. Margaret took them faithfully. After 2 months, there was barely any improvement. She could maybe walk 3 blocks instead of 2 before the cramping started, but she was still severely limited, still in pain, still terrified because Margaret's father had died from this same disease. He'd ignored it for years. By the time he took it seriously, one of his legs had turned gangrenous. They amputated it. He never recovered. Died in the hospital 3 weeks later. Margaret was 35 when it happened. She'd never forgotten. Now she had the same disease, and she was terrified she'd follow the same path. Margaret stopped going places. She used to walk to the farmer's market every Saturday morning, 4 blocks from her house. She loved it. The fresh vegetables, the flowers, the people. It was her weekly ritual. Now she couldn't. 4 blocks was too far. The pain would start after 2 blocks. She'd have to stop, stand there cramping. She tried once and gave up halfway, never tried again. Her daughter lived 3 blocks away. 3 blocks. Margaret used to walk there twice a week to see her grandchildren, play with them, read to them, be part of their lives. Now her daughter had to drive over to pick her up, or Margaret just didn't go. She'd make excuses. "I'm tired today. I'm not feeling well." She couldn't bring herself to say, "I can't walk 3 blocks." Her grandchildren were 6 and 8, growing up fast, changing every week, and Margaret was missing it. Missing moments she should have been there for. Birthday parties, school plays, soccer games, all happening 3 blocks away. Might as well have been 300 miles. Margaret's husband would find her crying at night. "What's wrong?" he'd ask. She couldn't explain. How do you explain that you're terrified of becoming your father? That you're watching your body follow the same path and you can't stop it? That every cold foot, every cramping calf, every numb toe is a reminder that you're dying slowly. The worst was nighttime. Margaret would get into bed and her feet would be ice cold. Her husband would touch them accidentally and pull away. "Your feet are freezing," he'd say, not criticizing, just stating fact. But Margaret heard it as confirmation. Her circulation was so bad her feet couldn't stay warm, even under blankets. She'd lie there unable to sleep, her feet throbbing with a dull ache. She'd imagine the blood trying to squeeze through her narrowed arteries, not enough oxygen reaching her tissues, her feet slowly dying, turning pale, then purple, then black, gangrenous, like her father's had. She'd get up at 2 a.m., go to the bathroom, look at her feet. Were they paler than yesterday? Were her toes more purple? Was that discoloration the beginning? She'd press on her toenails and watch the blood flow back slow, too slow, a sign that things were bad, getting worse. Margaret became obsessed, checking her feet multiple times a day, looking for signs of tissue death, any cut that wouldn't heal, any blister that looked infected, because she knew that with bad circulation, even a small infection could spiral. Tissues that don't get blood can't heal, can't fight infection. A small cut becomes an ulcer becomes Gangrene requires amputation. Her father's amputation had been below the knee. Margaret remembered visiting him in the hospital the day before the surgery. He'd looked at her with tears in his eyes. "I wish I'd taken care of this earlier," he said. "I ignored the signs. Now look at me." 3 weeks later, he was dead. Infection, organ failure, gone. Margaret was 68, the same age her father had been when things got really bad. Was she on the same timeline? Would she be in a wheelchair next year, missing a leg in 2 years, dead in 3? The thought was suffocating. Margaret's quality of life collapsed. She spent most days in her recliner, feet propped up, not really watching TV, just sitting there thinking about her father, about her frozen feet, about losing her leg, about dying. She stopped cooking, stopped cleaning, stopped doing anything that required being on her feet. Her husband took over. He was patient, never complained. But Margaret felt like a burden, useless, broken. She was 68 years old and couldn't stand long enough to make dinner. Then Margaret's daughter, who worked as a physician assistant, suggested she see me for a second opinion. Margaret came to my office desperate. "I don't want to lose my leg," she said. I don't want to die like my father, but the medications aren't working. What else can I do? I looked at Margaret's medical records. 2 years of treatment, tests, medications, doctor visits, everything documented carefully. But one thing jumped out at me. Not what was in the records, what wasn't. Nobody had ever asked Margaret what she ate, what nutrients she was getting, whether her body had what it needed to keep her blood vessels healthy and her blood flowing properly. I asked Margaret about her diet. She ate reasonably well, chicken, fish, some vegetables. But when I dug deeper, I realized she was missing almost everything that actually helps circulation. The compounds that reduce inflammation in arteries, the nutrients that help blood vessels relax and dilate, the things that make blood flow better, even when arteries are partially blocked. Her body was trying to fight a circulation problem with no ammunition, like trying to put out a fire with no water. But I'm not going to tell you what I recommended for Margaret yet, because first you need to understand what's happening inside blocked arteries. You need to understand that poor circulation isn't just about blockages. It's about inflammation. It's about blood vessels that can't relax properly. It's about blood that's too thick and sticky. And all of these things can be improved with specific interventions that most doctors never mention. Comment below right now if you have cold feet, leg pain when walking, or have been told you have circulation problems. Type circulation issues so I can see how many of you are dealing with this. Now, let me explain what's actually happening inside your arteries when circulation goes bad. Your arteries aren't just tubes, they're living tissue. The inside layer, the part that touches your blood, is covered with a thin layer of cells. These cells do something critical. They produce a molecule that keeps your blood vessels relaxed and open. That molecule is what allows blood to flow freely. When these cells get damaged or inflamed, they stop producing enough of this molecule. Your arteries get stiff. They can't relax properly. Blood flow decreases. Even if the arteries aren't completely blocked, blood can't flow well because the vessels won't open up the way they should. This is what was happening to Margaret. Her arteries had some blockages. Yes. But the bigger problem was that the arteries themselves weren't working right anymore. They were inflamed, stiff, unable to dilate properly, and medication alone wasn't fixing that. Now there's something specific that causes this inflammation. Something that makes arteries stiff and unable to relax. It's not cholesterol, not directly. It's the damage to cholesterol that happens inside your artery walls. The oxidation, the inflammatory response your body mounts when damaged cholesterol gets stuck. This inflammation is chronic, ongoing. It damages the cells lining your arteries. It prevents them from producing the molecule that keeps vessels relaxed. And the cycle continues. More inflammation, stiffer vessels, worse blood flow, more damage. The medications Margaret was taking were trying to force blood flow through damaged, inflamed, stiff arteries, but they weren't addressing the inflammation itself. They weren't helping her blood vessels relax and function properly. They were managing symptoms, not fixing the underlying problem. And here's what most people don't know. There are specific natural compounds that directly reduce this inflammation, that help damaged blood vessel cells recover that increased production of the molecule that keeps vessels relaxed. These compounds have been studied extensively. The research is published. The mechanisms are understood. But most doctors never mention them. The compound I'm about to tell you about is one of the most powerful for this. Research shows it reduces inflammation in blood vessels, helps them relax and dilate, improves blood flow measurably, and it's been used for thousands of years for exactly this purpose. Are you starting to feel frustrated? You should be, because this information exists. The research exists. But nobody told Margaret about it for 2 years while she suffered. Nobody told her there were things she could do beyond just taking pills and hoping. Now, before I reveal what this compound is, I need you to do something. Hit the like button. I know I haven't told you what it is yet, but your like helps this video reach more people with circulation problems who need this information. More people suffering who have no idea that simple interventions like this exist. Please hit like right now. The compound is in cloves, the spice The small dried buds you might have in your kitchen right now. Specifically, it's a component of cloves that makes up most of the active compounds. It's what gives cloves their distinctive smell and taste. This compound does multiple things for your circulation. First, it's a powerful anti-inflammatory. It reduces the inflammation in your artery walls that's making them stiff and preventing proper blood flow. Second, it helps the cells lining your arteries produce more of that critical molecule that keeps vessels relaxed. More production means better blood flow. Third, it prevents the damage to cholesterol that starts the inflammatory cycle in the first place. It's an antioxidant. It protects cholesterol from becoming oxidized and triggering inflammation. And fourth, it helps prevent blood from clotting too easily. Not dramatically like blood-thinning medications, just enough to improve flow and reduce risk of dangerous clots forming. Research has measured these effects directly. People who use cloves have measurably better blood vessel function, better blood flow, reduced inflammation. Some studies show improvements within weeks. Margaret started a simple protocol. Every morning she would take 2 whole cloves, place them in her mouth, chew them thoroughly. The taste is strong, spicy, slightly numbing. That numbing sensation is the active compound being released. She'd chew until the cloves were completely broken down, then swallow. The whole process took maybe 30 seconds. Why whole cloves instead of supplements? Because whole cloves contain everything in natural balance. All the compounds working together, supplements can be too concentrated and cause irritation. Whole cloves chewed properly release the compounds gradually and safely. Within 2 weeks, Margaret noticed something. Her feet felt slightly warmer. Not dramatically, just slightly. She wasn't sure if it was real, but by week 3, there was no doubt. Her feet were warmer. Not normal yet, but warmer than they'd been in 2 years. By week 4, the numbness was improving. She could feel her toes better. When she wiggled them, she could actually feel them moving instead of just seeing them move. The cramping pain started improving around week 5. Margaret tested her walking distance carefully. She made it 3 blocks before any cramping, then 4. By week 8, she could walk half a mile before the pain started, and even then it wasn't as severe. It eased faster when she rested. After 3 months, we retested her circulation. The test showed improvement. Blood flow to her legs had increased measurably. Not normal yet, but significantly better. Margaret cried when I showed her the results. For the first time in 2 years, she had proof that things were getting better, not worse. At 6 months, her circulation tests were almost normal. Her walking distance was over a mile. She could walk to the farmer's market again, shop, walk home. No severe cramping, just some tightness toward the end that eased quickly. She started walking to her daughter's house, 3 blocks, the distance that had been impossible for 2 years. She'd arrive and her grandchildren would run to hug her. "Grandma, you haven't been here in forever." Her daughter would look at her with tears. She knew what those 3 blocks meant. Margaret's depression lifted. Not completely. 2 years of suffering don't disappear overnight. But the crushing weight of hopelessness was gone. She wasn't waiting to die anymore. She was improving, getting stronger, reclaiming her life. At 1 year, Margaret's feet were warm. She could feel them normally. She could walk as far as she wanted. The disease hadn't disappeared. The blockages were still there on imaging. But her circulation had improved so much that it didn't matter anymore. Her arteries were functioning better. Blood was flowing better. She was living normally again, all from chewing 2 cloves every morning. Now let me give you the exact protocol. First, buy whole cloves. You can find them in any grocery store spice aisle. Make sure they're fresh. Fresh cloves should be dark brown, slightly oily, and smell strong when you squeeze them. Every morning, take 2 whole cloves. Place them in your mouth and chew thoroughly. Chew until they're completely broken down into a paste. It will taste strong and spicy. That's normal. That's the active compounds being released. Swallow once fully chewed. You can drink water after if the taste is too strong. Do this every single morning. Consistency is critical. The benefits build over time. This isn't a one-time fix. This is a daily practice that supports your circulation. You can also add vitamin K2 and magnesium to support this. Vitamin K2 helps prevent calcium from building up in arteries and making them stiff. Take 100 to 200 micrograms daily. Magnesium helps blood vessels relax. Take 300 to 400 mg daily. The glycinate form is best. If you're on blood-thinning medications like Warfarin or Plavix, talk to your doctor before starting Cloves. Cloves affect blood clotting. Combining them with blood thinners needs medical supervision. If you're having surgery, stop Cloves at least 2 weeks before. Tell your surgeon you've been using them. Everything I've shared is for educational purposes, not medical advice. Don't stop your circulation medications without talking to your doctor. Use Cloves alongside your medical treatment, not instead of it. Work with your doctor. Monitor your symptoms. If things improve, your doctor can adjust your medications appropriately. Tonight, think about Margaret. 2 years suffering with freezing feet and cramping pain, terrified of losing her leg like her father did, on medications that barely helped. Then she started chewing cloves every morning. Within months, her circulation improved measurably. Her pain decreased. Her feet warmed up. Her life came back. That could be you. Starting tomorrow morning, 2 cloves chewed thoroughly every day. It's that simple, and it could make all the difference. Share this video with anyone you know who has circulation problems, cold feet, leg pain. Your share could change someone's life. Subscribe to this channel and, most importantly, start tomorrow. Give your body what it needs and watch what happens. If you found this information helpful, take a moment right now to support the channel. Tap the like button so this video reaches more people struggling with circulation problems. And in the comments, tell me one thing. Do you experience cold feet, leg pain when walking, or numbness in your legs? Just type circulation issues so we can see how many people are dealing with this. Also remember, small daily habits can have a powerful impact on your health over time. The key is consistency. And if you want more simple, science-backed tips to support healthy aging, circulation, and overall well-being, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Thank you for watching. Take care of your body, and I'll see you in the next video.